Hey guys, it's Kelsey and I'm here with another How to Kill a Kit with Style layout. This is from last month, so I'll get into that in a second. This is a double challenge. The first part is the Detour challenge from the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, and the second part is the Star challenge from the Scraptacular Cropping Club. So the Detour challenge was really cool. We were supposed to try and not scrap lift, but implement the styles and techniques of either Christy, Harriman, or Sara scraps. They both are very talented and have very different techniques and looking pages. So I thought that was a really cool concept. They each kind of gave us different things that they feel like represents their style and a lot of things they use on their pages to kind of give them their overall look. So I chose to do Christy, which she had said she uses a lot of mixed media, teal, layers, stitching, and texture. So I think I pulled all of those into this page really well. I'm also going to go ahead and start pulling in all these stars for the Scraptacular Cropping Club's challenge. So I'm going to get going, but of course, you guys would have saw this layout in my roundup from last month's How to Kill a Kit with Style layout share. I was not going to post this one just because I feel like it kind of turned out like a hot mess, but I had a few requests, so I went ahead and decided I was going to upload that one. I'm not going to upload any of the other ones. I don't think that I didn't already post. They just were kind of just too simple. I think you guys got the point of those layouts. But this one, I tried some few things and new things I usually don't do. So I think even though it turned out as a hot mess, it was fun to do. It was different. So we're going to go ahead and go through this. So I'm just going to start off by matting my photos in a few mats. I really was thinking initially that this was going to be a hot pink and teal background or layout. I was really focusing on those two colors, but the more we got going, the more I just kind of leaned more on the teal side. So this is really the only pink layer that you see is the one I'm using now. I am distressing the edges just to try and add a little bit more texture. This was the morning that we woke up at 3:42 a.m. as you can see on that Snapchat timestamp, to fly to Maui. So we were flying from Oahu to Maui, and we are going to stay in Maui for one night, so we kind of have 2 days worth of adventures there. So that's kind of documenting that. I am throwing some teal Heidi Swap color shine down on the diagonal to kind of start my mixed media, and then I'm going in with the teal mixed media paste. So that's also Heidi Swap. I just thought I would do stars in a few areas along that diagonal to get that mixed media more on here, to get the stars more on here. And of course it's the same color as the splatter, so that really melded together really well. And I'm going to go over the top and do some more splatter too, because I wanted it super splattery. Sometimes the splatters, it looks like you do a lot, and then once it dries it kind of looks too bare, so I did go back and add a little more. But I like that for the background. As far as the mixed media stuff, I like seeing all those little stars. We did wake up so early that I thought the stars were appropriate because of course it was still nighttime. It was nighttime all the way up until we were on the plane, and then we actually got to see the sunrise from over the clouds while we were flying to Maui. So that was really, really cool. I have some scraps here of this other floral paper that I decided I would just do a little matte with to add a little bit more layers, a little bit more texture. You saw me distressing those edges as well. So I love how it looks when you have multiple mats and all the layers are distressed. I think that adds a lot of really cool texture. So I'm really playing that up in this layout, especially because Christy did say that layers and texture were two of her kind of biggest things she likes to incorporate on her layout, along with those other things I had mentioned earlier. So I'm cheating the system a little bit. This was a smaller scrap, so I kind of had to cheat it a little bit to make it look like it stretched a little farther than it did. I am pulling in this little stitching kit that excuse me, Ronnie sent me. There is a star stencil in that kit, so I thought it would be really cool to stitch some stars across the diagonal as well, just to pull the stars in more, to pull the teal in more. Stitching, of course, adds more texture, and this little teal bundle of thread came in this Amy Tan stitching kits, and I thought that was the perfect color, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that all in. Before I do that though, I'm adding a few more layers to my little photo section just so I can see what all that's going to cover up, so I'm not stitching where I'm going to cover up anyways. But I'm just going to go ahead and get that thread off, and then you'll see me. This whole little piercing set is really, really cool. So you can see all the little shapes there, and there's little holes that just tell you where to pierce the holes as a guide. And then after the holes are pierced, you just stitch them, and it's so easy, and I love it because I don't do shapes when I stitch, and I don't think I would be able to unless you had a stencil like this. And there's 4 different stencils that have a bunch of stuff on it. So that has been really fun to play with. I speed this up a lot, and then I do part of it off camera, just because I was watching TV and I ended up pulling the layout into my lap to finish stitching. So this goes really quickly, but you can just see how I'm stitching through all those dots that I had pierced with the guide, and I just did them across a diagonal where it was going to be showing. So I thought that was really cool. That was something different, and added a few more of those elements that Christy had said is her style. So that's really cool. Her layouts turn out way cuter than this one. This one did turn out like a mess, I know. But you know, I did fun things, and it still ended up nice, so I think it'll be okay. I thought about pulling in gold, but that metallic along with the blue metallic was clashing to me, so I decided not to pull in any gold. I did want to pull in some more layers, though. I was having a difficult time figuring out how to add more layers, because I'm kind of down to the scraps, and I didn't really have the colored scraps I wanted to be tucking in or cutting up a 12 by 12 for. So I'm trying to rely on my die cuts for scraps and layers, and I just don't find anything I really want. But I do decide to try and do a doily. Those are always great for adding texture and layers, but I wanted it to be teal. So I did go back with my Heidi Swapp teal color shine and just painted this doily teal. I usually do this with acrylic paint if I am going to alter doilies. I don't think I have tried doing it with black Heidi Swapp color shine, but I've never done it with a colored one. So this was interesting. The color did seem to change because it looks way more blue than it does if you splatter on the layout. When you splatter on the layout, it looks more green, as you can see to the layout to the left. But once you paint it on this doily, for whatever reason, it's way more true blue. So that was interesting because I thought it would blend in really well with the stars and the splatter on the layout, and it just looks like a completely different color. But I just dried that really quick, and I'm going to tuck that into 2 areas. It does add a cool little texture detail. It just is throwing me off a little bit because it's a different color, even though it's the same texture paste, or not texture paste, but the same mist I used for the other things. So yeah, I'm not sure quite why that happened, but I think it's still a little fun detail and trying something new, so I'm always up for that, even if it doesn't turn out my favorite. So there we go. I like having that on the diagonal as well. It kind of attaches the photos to the mixed media. And then I had this really cool striped teal washi that Lisa sent me in the Happy Mail she sent me. It was just part of her packaging her cute little envelopes of goodies for me, and I hoarded it because they're scrapbookers and that's what we do. And I just thought it would be a perfect little extra layery bit, especially because it was teal and that's part of the goal. So I did tear it and add that top and bottom of the photos. And then I have this conjumbled mess of thickers. I don't even know where these came from. They were like a used up thicker set that ended up in my hands and I couldn't throw them away for whatever reason. So I did go onto Litscape, which you see there to the left, and tried to find some words out of what was left on this sad little thicker sheet because I couldn't find anything at first. And then once I started looking at Litscape, I was like, oh, I see jump, I see go, I see up, and I was like, I think we can do this. So I titled it Jump Up and Go. I did have to use a 0 for an O. But I'm surprised I found a title at all out of that sticker sheet. So here are the close-ups. Thanks guys so much for watching. See you later. Bye.